I found a lost journal in a bookstore 3 years later. The author found me in the most impossible way. I collect used books, not valuable ones, just ordinary books with notes in the margins, inscriptions on the title pages, or little artifacts tucked between the pages, evidence of the lives that touched them before me. 4 years ago, while browsing a secondhand bookstore in Boston, I found a leather journal wedged between two novels. It had clearly been left there accidentally. Inside, someone had filled about 30 pages with beautiful handwritten poetry, travel notes from a trip to Japan, and sketches of temple gardens. The only identifying information was a first name, Elena, and a small drawing of a fox on the last written page. I asked the bookstore owner if anyone had come looking for it. No one had. I debated what to do. Turn it into lost, and found to keep it on my shelf. In the end, I left my email address with the bookstore and took the journal home, feeling both guilty and fascinated by this accidental window into a stranger's life. The poetry was genuinely good reflections on leaving home, finding yourself in unfamiliar places, and the particular loneliness of travel. I found myself returning to it often, especially one home without watching snow fall in Kyoto. 2 years passed. I moved from Boston to Seattle for a new job. The journal moved with me, tucked into a box with my favorite books. Last spring, I signed up for a pottery class, something I'd always wanted to try. 8 of us gathered around a large table for the first session as the instructor introduced herself. "I am Julie, and I've been working with clay for about 15 years, she said. "But before we begin, I'd like everyone to introduce themselves and share why they're here." We went around the circle: a retired teacher, a tech developer, a nurse. When we got to the woman across from me, she smiled shyly. "I am Elena. I just moved here from the East Coast. I am trying to do one new creative thing each month this year." My attention sharpened. Elena wasn't an uncommon name, but something about her voice caught me. She had a slight accent I couldn't place, maybe Eastern European, throughout the class. I kept glancing at her hands as she worked the clay. They moved with a deliberate grace that seemed familiar, though I couldn't say why. As we were cleaning up, Elena mentioned she'd lived in Japan for a year. The coincidence was becoming too strong to ignore. "This might sound strange," I said, "but did you ever keep a journal with poetry and sketches, maybe while traveling?" Her hands froze under the running water. "I lost one in Boston years ago. It had all my writing from Kyoto." She looked at me with sudden intensity. "Why would you ask that?" I explained, finding the journal, keeping it safe, even bringing it across the country. Her eyes widened with each detail. "The fox," she whispered. "Did it have a small fox drawing?" I nodded. For our next class, I brought the journal. Elena arrived early, visibly nervous. When I handed it to her, she traced the cover with trembling fingers before opening it. "I thought this was gone forever," she said softly. "These tones led to my first published collection last year." She insisted on making us tea after class at her apartment, where I discovered she was now a visiting professor of creative writing at the university. The walls of her living room were covered with larger versions of the same Japanese garden sketches from the journal. As we talked, she revealed the significance of the fox. "In Japanese folklore, foxes can recognize each other across different lives," she explained. "When I was in Kyoto, a tour guide told me that if you keep encountering same soul, it means you've known each other before. I am not sure I believe in past lives or foxes that transcend time. What I do believe is that among 8 million people in 2 cities across 4 years and 3,000 miles, a lost journal somehow found its way back to its rightful owner. And now somehow Elena and I meet for coffee every Sunday. Sometimes coincidences are just statistical anomalies. Sometimes they're the universe's way of introducing you to a friend you didn't know you were looking for."